Your cat has been quietly testing you since the day you brought them home. There's a set of rules they expect you to understand, rules nobody ever explains, rules you've probably been breaking without realizing it. Your cat won't complain, they won't make a scene, they'll simply file it away, one small moment at a time, and decide how much they trust you based on it. Today, we're breaking down exactly what those rules are, and by the end, you'll understand why your cat sleeps where they sleep and what that really means.
Rule 1. The eye contact mistake. Let's start with something almost every owner gets backwards. You lock eyes with your cat across the room, hold that gaze for a few seconds, feeling like you're having a moment, and then your cat looks away, or worse, gets up and leaves. Most people assume the cat just got bored. That's not what happened. In feline communication, a sustained direct stare isn't affection, it's a challenge. In the wild, prolonged eye contact between two cats is almost always the prelude to a confrontation, and that instinct never left them, even after thousands of years of living on our couches. Researchers studying feline cognition have found that cats tend to move away from people who stare directly at them, but are drawn toward people who blink slowly and then look away. That slow blink is the feline equivalent of a smile. It signals, "I'm relaxed around you. I'm not a threat." So the fix is simple. Instead of holding a stare, soften your eyes, blink slowly, and look away. That's the version of "I love you" your cat actually understands. And stick around, because later we'll talk about where your cat chooses to sleep at night, because that single detail is often the real answer to whether they've truly forgiven you for moments like this.
Rule 2. Knowing when to stop petting. Here's a scenario every cat owner knows. Your cat is purring contentedly in your lap, soaking up the attention, and then, out of nowhere, they whip around and bite your hand. It feels random. It isn't. Cats have a physical limit for how much repetitive touch their skin can tolerate before it stops feeling good and starts feeling irritating. Veterinary behaviorists refer to this as overstimulation, and it happens because continuous stroking overworks the nerve receptors under their fur. It's a bit like someone tapping the same spot on your shoulder again and again. Pleasant at first, then irritating, then unbearable. The warning signs almost always show up before the bite. A twitching tail, ears angling slightly back, a slight ripple along the skin. Most of us miss all three because we're too absorbed in the moment to notice. The rule is straightforward. Keep petting sessions short, watch for those early signals, and stop the moment you see them. Letting your cat decide when they want more contact isn't your cat rejecting you, it's your cat teaching you exactly how they like to be loved.
Rule 3. Don't disturb their territory. Every cat has a favorite spot. Maybe it's a particular cushion, a certain corner of the couch, or an old cardboard box you've been meaning to throw out. When you move it, rearrange the furniture, or toss the box, it feels like harmless tidying to you. To your cat, it can feel like losing something they've built. Cats experience their home primarily through scent, not sight. Every spot they regularly rest in gets marked with pheromones released from glands in their face and paws, an invisible signature that says, "This space is mine, and it's safe." When that spot disappears or moves without warning, your cat doesn't just feel mildly inconvenienced. Their sense of security in that space is gone, seemingly for no reason. Feline behavior researchers have identified environmental disruption as one of the leading causes of stress in indoor cats, and it doesn't take much. Something as minor as relocating a cat bed to the opposite side of a room has been linked to anxiety, appetite changes, and even avoidance of the litter box. The rule: respect the spaces your cat has chosen. If change is unavoidable, introduce it gradually. Shift things a little at a time so your cat can adjust instead of feeling like their safe zone vanished overnight. Rule 4. Let them eat in peace. Talking to your cat while they eat feels like a small, affectionate gesture. To your cat, mealtime is one of the most vulnerable moments of their entire day. In the wild, an animal with its head down and its focus locked on food is an animal with its guard lowered, and that instinct hasn't faded just because dinner now comes out of a can. When you hover nearby, chat with them, or reach down to pet them mid-bite, part of your cat's brain shifts into monitoring you instead of simply eating. You may not see any outward reaction, but the stress is happening internally. The consequences show up later. Cats who feel watched or pressured while eating often gulp their food too quickly, which can lead to vomiting, resource guarding, or avoiding the food bowl altogether. In multi-cat households, this same pressure can appear even without a human present. Simply placing two food bowls too close together can make both cats feel like they need to eat defensively. The rule: when your cat is eating, give them space. No talking, no touching, no hovering. In multi-cat homes, separate the bowls so each cat can eat at their own pace, without competition.
Rule 5. The greeting they're waiting for. Think about what you do the moment you walk through your front door. Keys down, phone checked, shoes off. Meanwhile, your cat may already be sitting there, watching you arrive, and most owners walk right past without a second thought. To you, it's nothing. To your cat, that moment carries real weight. Cats don't greet casually or by accident. When a cat deliberately positions themselves near the door or watches you enter from across the room, that's an intentional acknowledgement, and they expect one in return. Behaviorists who study cat-owner relationships have observed that cats develop consistent greeting rituals with people they trust, similar to how they greet other cats in their social circle. A slow, relaxed approach, tail held upright, sometimes a soft chirp. It's their way of saying, "I noticed you and I'm glad you're back." Ignore that ritual often enough and your cat doesn't protest, they simply stop initiating it. Fewer greetings at the door, fewer chirps, not because they stopped caring, but because they learned it wasn't being reciprocated. The fix takes seconds. A slow blink, a soft word, a moment of acknowledgement when you walk in. That's often all it takes to keep the ritual alive.
Rule 6. Where they choose to sleep. Finally, the detail that ties everything together, where your cat sleeps at night. Earlier, we talked about how a direct stare can register as a threat. Sleep is the flip side of that same coin, because where a cat chooses to rest is the clearest, most honest signal of how safe they feel around you. A cat who curls up on your chest or right beside your face is placing themselves in their most physically vulnerable state, fully unconscious, right next to you. That's not just comfort seeking. That's about as close to complete trust as a cat can express. A cat who sleeps at the foot of the bed still trusts you, but is keeping a small buffer, an easy route out if needed. That's not rejection. It's a cat still calibrating exactly how safe your space is. And a cat who chooses to sleep in another room entirely isn't necessarily a cat who doesn't love you. It may simply mean something in your day-to-day interactions. One of the very rules we've covered today is quietly making them feel unsure. None of this is fixed. Every single day gives you a fresh chance to follow the rules your cat has been silently hoping you'd notice. Now that you know what they are, the only question left is whether you'll start following them.